You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Rudrance for Black and White Sports 2. Let's talk about the Jets. A lot going on with the Jets. They fired Mike LaFleur. I did a video last night. They interviewed the former Broncos coach. Nathaniel Hackett could be a nightmare for the Jets and their fans. Could not. Could totally work out. Nathaniel Hackett does have some success on his record. And a tasty little nugget that I found out about, he had 26 coaches on his staff with the Broncos. And he literally went to Broncos ownership and asked for some help because of time management, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, well, he had the wherewithal to do that, but it also can show the fact that he was just flat in over his head as a head coach of a football team, and he might be one of these guys that's just much better suited being an OC and may be successful. I don't know. And, of course, the Jets don't have to hire him. Now, let's get to Zach Wilson because, this is a bad report. This is another scathing kind of report that has come out from The Athletic. This is by way of Outkick. But when Zach Wilson was demoted, the New York Jets players rejoiced. This is nuts. They hate this guy. These players hate Zach Wilson. I know Robert Saleh is claiming he's coming back. I don't know how. Because, I mean, there's some things in here about the fact that when they knew he was coming back, it just deflated the whole team. And you got to wonder, did bringing him back and allowing him to start again as opposed to Flacco or even finding a different quarterback off the street, did that cost the Jets the playoffs this year? I don't know. New York Jets seem to be headed towards a playoff berth at the midway point this NFL season. Who is this? Ian Miller. Okay. Part of that seemed due to Zach Wilson after he returned from injury and replaced Joe Flacco. But the Jets turned in an absolutely dreadful performance after their bye week, losing 10-3 to the Patriots. Wilson seemed uninterested in taking responsibility for his poor play, which led to him being benched as a starting quarterback. That pissed everybody in that locker room off. Based on his teammates' alleged reactions, it seemed Wilson didn't have a lot of fans in the Jets locker room. According to a new report from The Athletic, his teammates, quote, rejoiced when Wilson was benched. Wow. It shouldn't be a surprise. I mean, they were wearing effing Mike White t-shirts in before a game. What's even more surprising is they wanted him out even with his replacement being little-used reserve, Mike White. When Wilson returned after White himself got injured, players apparently openly grumbled about it. Whoa. Things got even worse as the Jets lost their final 6 games of the season. Wilson led the team during another low point, passing for just 92 yards in an embarrassing loss to the Jags. He was also so bad in that game, he was replaced by a practice squad quarterback. Yeah. You can always count on the Jets to supply the drama. This report says the Jets are likely to move on from Zach Wilson. We had heard that, and then they come out and said they would keep him. But the thing about it is, Jets leadership pretty much has to say, oh, yeah, we want to keep him, we want to develop him. Because if they don't, then they have no cards in holding any trade value for Zach Wilson, okay? They got to make Zach Wilson look like he's at least somewhat of an attractive prospect from potential. Okay? In other words, can the right coach get a hold of Zach Wilson and make something out of him? Kyle Shanahan, Andy Reid, one of these QB guru guys that might be able to build an offense around Zach. I don't know. I always thought he just seemed like he was too small. And there's been some entitlement conversations around him, etc. Given his seemingly unpopular in the locker room and poor performance, It's no surprise the team appears done with Wilson. You can be disliked as long as you win. Being disliked and bad is a bridge too far on virtually every NFL roster. I just think he's out of the league in about 3 years. The Athletics report says Wilson was open to learning and tried to apologize for unpopular remarks. Yet, he wasn't able to incorporate advice, and players grew frustrated with poor practices. Okay, well, and if you're Robert Saleh and Mike LaFleur at the time, that's a great way to lose your locker room and your team. All right, the players go out on the field for practice. Zach Wilson sucks. He's shitty at practice. Well, how do you think the players are going to feel about taking Zach Wilson into a game? Okay, if they're watching him fuck up a practice, they're thinking we have no chance in this game. So it's kind of no surprise that the Jets crashed and burned like they did, because playing this D-bag caused a lot of other issues, all right? I mean, it was like the Jets players are probably going into games going, we have no shot because of this dude. We've sat back all week, and he looks like shit in practice. And look, if he looked poor in practices and Robert Saleh and LaFleur still run him out there, no wonder there was some talk about Saleh losing his gig. And I think he deserved another year. But that right there, out of everything, as far as a management standpoint goes, when players grew frustrated with his poor practices, man, that's a lack of leadership and the wherewithal to know we just can't play this guy. He's not ready, period. Given the success in the NFL is almost determined by quarterback, it's not hard to understand their concerns. The Jets have talent on defense, when healthy, a solid O-line. Look, they got a good running back when he's healthy too. So there's going to be a lot of options on the table there. All year I made the joke, because we covered Russell Wilson a lot on this channel, a whole lot, even more than the Jets, because that was a shit show in Denver. I made the joke all year that the two worst quarterbacks in the league both had the last name Wilson. Now, at least with Russell, and I want to try to always be fair, Russell flashed signs of life the last 3 games of the year. Once Hackett was gone, he started flashing. I don't know why it didn't work out in Hackett's offense, because Hackett's got a good reputation. Do I think Hackett will get that OC job? No, I really don't. I think there's probably a sentiment that he came in, somebody did him a solid, gave him an interview so his name stays out there, and also he fulfills the clause in these contracts involving offset language, where you have to look like, and a lot of people don't know this, these coaches can't just sit back in Cadillac and not look for another job and expect to get paid by the team that fires them. That's not the way this works. They have to go out there, and they do have to pursue other opportunities. People are asking the question right now, is Bidwell going to go after Cliff Kingsbury because he tweeted out that he's going to Thailand and he wasn't going to look for any kind of other opportunities? Well, in theory, he could. Bidwell could, but he probably won't, because Cliff Kingsbury will probably come back and flirt with some jobs when he comes back, or he'll get into the cycle next year as an OC or college or whatever. All right? But so Hackett has an obligation to interview somewhere, and somebody may have done him a solid with the New York Jets. Zach Wilson, I don't know what you do with him. I truly don't. I mean, his trade value, it's not going to be a third. You're not getting a third or a fourth for this guy. He looks like a complete bust. His actual statistics are nearly identical to Jamarcus Russell through this far in his career. That's all-time bust. We're into all-time bust stuff now. Okay? We are. Zach Wilson's got a pretty good arm. We know he can move. But his accuracy is not good at all. And if he's not performing in practice, a lot of people don't realize some of these guys look like world beaters in practice. Like a guy like Andy Dalton or a Mike Glennon or somebody like that can go into practice and blow it up, and they're like, oh shit, man, he threw 5 touchdowns in practice. We're going to kick ass. And he goes out there in the next game and he's, 15 for 33 for 114, a touchdown and 4 interceptions. It's just, and if you can't perform in practice, you had some rare things happen, like Tebow sucked in practice, but then turned into Superman the last 5 minutes of every fourth quarter for one entire season. But we know that a career it does not make, right? So this is bad. I mean, you can't turn over the entire roster because of a bust quarterback. If this team is out on him, have the wherewithal and the foresight to realize we drafted a bust. It's a wrap. We got to see what we can get. Can we get a 6th or a 7 for him? And ultimately, if you cannot, I don't know, put him on the practice squad or cut him. You know what I mean? I mean, this feels very like Josh Rosen-like, where it's just going to be over before it even felt like it began. I don't know. Tell me what you think. A lot of Jets talk on here all of a sudden. Going to be a lot of Jets, a lot of Ravens. I've got a Broncos video coming because their coaching situation is getting very interesting. And, of course, I will probably pick some games. If you're listening on podcast, make sure you subscribe. Peace. I'm out. Till next time. Black and White Network supporters, make sure you go over and check out the Black and White Network merchandise store. 25% off USA First. 25% off USA First. Go now.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.